Hey guys, so I'm making this quick video to tell you that I was driving. Let's just start it off like this. I was driving to work and I normally leave my apartment about 8:30, no later than 8:40 because I live 20 minutes away from work. Well, this day, a couple days ago, I left at 8:20 and I was driving to work and all of a sudden I spun out of control, did a 360 and landed in a ditch, which I was facing the road after I turned, and it was just really scary. And it's funny because there's going to be like a few different stories in this one video, but to go back later in the week, I had went to this gas station on like right before I was on my way to work to get a drink, and I was looking up in the cooler and all of a sudden this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Ma'am, what tastes good with Jaeger?" And I was like, "Ugh, Jaeger, I don't fuck with Jaeger." He goes, "What? Like this, it's so good," and blah blah. Well, later on he was like, or I said, "Well, how about you try Monster?" He's like, "Well, I've already tried Monster with it." I'm like, "Okay, how about Red Bull?" And he's like, "Well, that's a good idea." I was like, "Yeah, Red Bull gives you wings." And I don't know how it came about him asking for my number, but he asked for my number and I kind of just ignored him and walked to the register and, you know, paid for my stuff, and he was right behind me. So I was like, why not? Whatever. So I go to him, I was like, "Where's your phone at?" And he goes, "It's in my truck." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your number?" And he goes, "My number is," and then he said his name. Like he was nervous, I guess, because he didn't think that that would actually work. But then I gave him my number, or I got his number, and then I texted him. And thank God I got this guy's number because he's the one who actually got me out of the ditch. Like I called like probably 5 to 10 different people and I was like, "Yeah, I'm on my way to work," and I was driving and I didn't realize it was as icy as it was. I was actually even going 10, 15 under the speed limit and I still spun out of control and landed in the ditch, and I was like shaking, like freaking out. Nothing that I know of is wrong with my car. It doesn't look like I like drove into a ditch, but it does sound a little different, so I'm gonna have to get it looked at. But I called this guy and I was like, he's like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Yeah, not much, just driving to work," and I did a 360 and landed in the ditch. And he goes, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Yeah, I was wondering if you could come pull me out," because I knew he had a truck. And he was like, "Yeah, I can do that." Well, only one person stopped when I was in the ditch, and it was this older guy, and he was telling me about how he just got done with cancer and he can't feel his feet, and I'm like asking him like, "Why are you driving if you can't feel your feet?" And he's like, "I can feel them enough to drive." And he has like had to walk around with a stick and everything, and I didn't want, like, he said he could pull my car out, but I didn't want him to do all that extra work because he was an older guy and he couldn't even like walk without like hurting himself. So I was like, you know, "I have someone that's coming to help me. You don't have to help me. It's fine." He goes, "Well, you can at least sit in my truck and warm up and blah blah." And I'm like, my mom always told me not to get into a car with a stranger, but whatever. I'm freezing and I'm scared. Like whatever. Why not? So I get in this guy's truck, and which I'm not suggesting to get into a stranger's truck. Do not do that. Nothing happened. We just talked about like what happened, and he was telling me about like how he had cancer and whatnot, and he got through it. But I'm just like, oh my gosh. So finally, like probably 40-50 minutes after I called the guy that was going to help me out of the ditch, he finally gets there because he was getting directions from 2 teenagers, which they clearly didn't know where they were going because they made him go into like 2 different directions that were wrong, and then finally got to the place. But the older guy got out of the truck and he latched it onto the guy's truck. Actually, the older guy latched it onto his truck, but he tried to latch it onto the other truck, and then he fell on the road because it was so icy, and I felt so bad because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this older guy is trying to help me, and he just fell, and it was a bad day. and so finally I get out, and the guy that the older guy actually stopped in the middle of the road so that I could turn around and be on the right side of the road, so that I didn't have to worry about traffic like coming back and forth. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I'm so happy that I got that random guy's number and that older guy stopped, because it definitely made it a little better. But the thing that really pissed me off about this is right after I landed in the ditch, I had to call my work, obviously, because I was going to run late or I wasn't going to be able to make it. Well, I call and one of my assistant managers answers, and she goes, "Hello." I'm like, "Yeah, this is Cola. I might either be late or not be able to make it into work today." And she's like, "Okay, why?" And I explained it to her, and she goes, "Well, if you are just late, how long do you think it'll be?" And I'm thinking, like, I don't fucking know. I'm in a ditch right now. Like, my main concern is to get out of this ditch, not to, like, rush to work, even though I'm never late for work, and it really bothered me. But I ended up being a half hour late for work, and then I stayed a half hour later so that I made up the time. But I'm just like, why would my assistant manager ask that? That's like the stupidest thing to ask is, "Oh, when are you going to be here? I know you're stuck in a ditch and you can't get out, but when are you going to be here?" Like, it was just so stupid. But yeah, so that's my crazy story, which I hope that I didn't like mess up something too bad in my car. But I think I might have, because I was driving home from work one day, actually it was yesterday, and because this happened like a week ago, this car, like me landing in the ditch. Well, yesterday or the day before, I was driving home from work, and I was going around this 35-mile-an-hour curve, and I always go around this curve going 35, 40, and all of a sudden my back tires started to like act like they did when I did the 360 and landed in the ditch, and I'm like, oh my god, no way, please don't do this. And the other thing that saved me from not flipping over when I landed in the ditch that one day was all I could remember when I was spinning was my mom saying, "Do not stomp on the brakes, just pump them." And that's what I did, and I honestly think that's the reason why I didn't flip, because if you don't have control of your car, you're not going to want to just stomp on your brakes, because then more than likely you're just going to end up in a bigger situation than you even needed to be in. But yeah, so I know this video was definitely all over the place because I was going from one subject to the next, but I'm literally like sleep deprived. So I have energy, but I don't. Like, my body feels tired, but my mind is like, I'm up, you're not going to sleep. But that is my story about going into a ditch, and it was so scary. Like, for 3 to 4 hours after that, I was still shaking, because I was like, oh my god, like, that could have ended so much worse. And I'm glad that I'm okay, and that for the most part my vehicle is fine, but it does sound a little different, sounds a little rough, but I'm gonna get it looked at as soon as I can. I just need to breathe. But that is my video of what I experienced like a week ago, and I would suggest, like, even if the roads are bad or you don't realize that there is black ice, then go even slower than you're going, because I was going, the speed limit was 55 and I was going about 40, so about 40, 45, so go like 30 if it's 55. But alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. I mean, I don't know how you can. I mean, I guess it's a learning. Maybe I taught somebody something to not, like, stomp on your brakes. Just don't do it. Just pedal them. And yeah, hopefully I helped someone out, or I just made them feel better about a situation, or I don't know. I don't know what my videos do for you guys, but thank you again for the 91 subscribers that I have now, because I'm pretty excited about that. I just keep going on my YouTube channel and like, wow, like, all these people keep subscribing to me, and I haven't posted a video in a couple days, but I'm doing good. I think I'm doing pretty good posting videos, but I have like probably 4 or 5 to edit now, so that's what I'm gonna do now. And then I gotta do my taxes as soon as my friend comes over to help me with it, and then possibly pack the rest of my stuff. I'm so busy all the time. But yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys in my next video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like and comment, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. Bye.